I'm Chris.
I'm Buddy.
And I'm Kara. Welcome to the Business Experience.
Now it's time to meet your hosts. Dr. Chris Alexander has founded over 5 businesses. Kara Turner is the founder of a B2B marketing agency. And Buddy Powers has perfected the product development and commercialization process. Let's get into the episode.
So this episode, we are going to talk about developing a niche and then building on it.
Is that how you say it?
I was about to say, we need to clarify, are we saying niche or are we saying niche? Because, we're from Texas, so I feel like niche is better.
N-I-T-C-H there, Bubba.
Isn't there a little mark up there?
Yeah. Niche.
What's that thing called?
I forgot.
I know. The tilde?
The tilde, yeah.
Ooh, I feel like I got that. That was exciting.
We both got it wrong.
Oh. Whatever. Okay, so which one are we going to call it?
I like saying niche, but it's because I'm from
Niche.
Texas.
Niche.
It just seems more natural. Niche. Sounds like I'm trying to be fancy, and I'm not.
Okay, so today's topic is developing a
Niche.
Now I'm going to say it the other way.
How about you can say it however you want to say it?
I like that.
I'm not trying to impress anybody.
I'm
I'll
going
say
to
it
see
both
if I can
ways.
flip back and
Yeah,
forth
that's to
each
confuse
time.
us. Noach.
Okay, so on this one, I didn't look up any statistics, but I wanted to have a definition for it. So,
Perfect.
in business, a niche is an area of interest that's developed from your strengths and passions. It usually involves performing a job or offering a product, and it's something that aligns well with your personality and talents. So I think that's a very good definition. And understanding your niche is essential as it helps to identify the potential audience's needs, so your clients. It helps the business owners generate new product ideas. And it also helps in finding the right way of communicating with your target audience. So it's basically essential to your business being successful. You have to at least understand what yours is.
Right. Exactly.
For sure.
So, Buddy, we're going to let you start. No, we're not. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. So, what have you learned through your work experience about building a niche?
Okay, so a niche to me originally was something like, you being the expert on something and you developing that craft. And that initially part of my career, composites and all that, I was really trying to take that on. But what I found out was through my career, and I really wanted to go after stuff that I loved to do, that I was good at, because the reality is you think you may be good at something, but there's always someone better than you at it. But if you find something that is unique and that you're passionate about, and I don't really know how to put my finger on it, but it is definitely my why and why I do things is that someone says to me that I'm glad you showed up, this was really valuable, this meeting was important, and all of those things that go into that, that's really my niche in terms of what I want to try to do for the market, the people that are in my network, and the people that I work with.
That's good.
Yes. Chris, what about you?
So I have a lot of thoughts on this topic. So some of this goes way, way back into my teens. And so my dad was a professor at Texas A&M in mechanical engineering, and he had a professor whose name was Dr. Thompson, and Dr. Thompson was a professor at A&M in the 1950s and 60s, and I think he was a real gentleman's gentleman. He wore a tie everywhere he went. I mean, he was kind of old school. He really impacted a lot of students, and back then A&M was all male, so he had a lot of these young men that he really influenced, and he had a huge influence on my dad. Matter of fact, in my library, I've got a couple of his books, and he would write letters to men, and so he spent a lot of time with my dad. He said, look, Richard, here's what you need. He said, you need to find something and you can be the very best in the world at it. He said, I don't know what that is. He said, but if you can get to an area and develop some expertise. So here I'm as a 16-year-old, and there were not always times I listened to my dad, but there were times. And so part of my brain's like, okay, I need to figure out what that is. So went to A&M, got a degree, got another degree, and then I started working. And in 1994, started testing clock spring, which is the first composite repair. I really liked it. I've always liked materials. When I was a kid, I built model airplanes. And so what happened was I began to really get interested in this area. Then I went back and got my PhD, and so I developed some real technical expertise. So what happened was, it was like this perfect combination. I developed some expertise technically. The other thing is I really like people in sales, and so I am a networker, so I begin to connect people. We begin to put these big joint industry projects. I think I've done 30 joint industry projects over the past 20 years. Most of them focus on composites. I kind of keep a running tally. It's probably about $25 million. And it all started my first joint industry project based on my niche, which was composite repair technology. It's just really made my career. So to me, like when we're coaching the young engineers at ADV Integrity, we talk about the importance of finding an area where you can develop some expertise, and that's something that you really focus on. And once you do that, it's just easier to do other things. But I think there's a lot of people that never really develop that expertise, and they kind of wander through their whole career. They're kind of a jack of all trades, and we have to be able to do a wide range of things. But if you really want to be successful, there needs to be like one thing that you can do that allows you to take all your skills and really be focused in that. So
yes, I agree with that. So I think having a niche, for me personally, it helps when I am one of the younger people and I walk into a room. You kind of get imposter syndrome sometimes. And so to me, it's really helpful that I am in the room most of the time, the subject matter expert on marketing. So that helps me to feel confident. I can take time to learn more about that. If I don't know something that a client asks, then I just like put it in the bank, like need to figure that one out.
Right.
So I think it also helps as a younger person in their career, helps you to have confidence and to just focus. So like you said, you're not just wandering around, like not figuring out what you want to do with life. So.
That's great.
So my current role like really plays into this because we focus on business to business marketing. So if we wanted to be a jack of all trades, we could focus on business to consumer marketing, business to business marketing, and we could just say, oh yes, we can do it all. But I think it's very important that you pick the one thing, business to business for us, that we really can put all of our skills into it. While we might use all the same skills that a business to consumer marketing firm uses, we are channeling those into B2B, and they're the same skills, but they're used very, very differently.
Right. That's great.
So, buddy, how does your current role play in this?
Yeah, I like what you said about honing in on a specific topic and being really good at it. Both of you said that. But I think also my job is sometimes to look down the road and be somewhat of a visionary, where if I see a code in compliance or a certain threat, something that, we have transition fuels and things that we're talking about now, where someone can actually fill that role for the industry and become a subject matter expert and really find their niche. So mine is more about finding those opportunities for our extremely intelligent staff to go in and build a career out of, kind of like what Chris talked about.
That's a good role because you can help guide younger engineers that maybe don't know where they need to be, and you're like, hey, here's a great opportunity. I think you would be a good fit. So it's kind of filling that networking and developing your niche together.
Because part of this niche is
every time I can't say it.
is developing that business case. So Chris hit it right. I mean, there's a convergence of a lot of things, and one of them was a pipeline repair rule that came out in 1999 that Chris was a part of, and then the testing and research to repair structurally other threats had to have someone that stepped up and led that, and that's what Chris did. So, and those are right there, business cases for the utilization of composites and driving force for all that great work that Chris did.
Tell us about your book.
Always got a book. Brad Pitt has popsicles, and I have a book. So today's book is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. I'm gonna put you all on the spot. Do you know who Peter Thiel is?
Yeah, I think. What else? What other book he wrote? He wrote a couple of them.
He's not a big book guy. This was actually his notes. I think he taught a class at Stanford. He developed PayPal. And Elon Musk was his sidekick, right? So SpaceX and Tesla, Elon probably got $130 million by the time he was in his mid-20s. So anyway, that's kind of Peter Thiel's deal. So his book is 0 to 1. So it's kind of like, think about a graph, you go from 0 to 1 immediately. So it's just a bunch of collection of notes. And we read this book a couple of years ago kind of as a team. One of the things that he talked about in here, the best way to not have competition is be so good at something that you don't have competition. So, I took 5 or 6 takeaways from this. So that's my book. But one of the things that Kara always has us do, and like Buddy does business development for ADV Integrity, is my role as president. And I take this, I'm really intentional. We use the word intentional a lot. Is I'm very intentional in talking to primarily our directors, and most of our directors are in their 30s and early 40s, is I'm there to support them. And the joke is, sometimes people call me boss. If you're a good leader, you realize people don't work for you, you work for them, right? So I work for our guys. My job is to make sure that they have the things they need to be successful. But to me, it's helping them figure out what are the resources that they need. So for example, if they need marketing, Kara, we call you and the ladies and you get together and we put a podcast together or brochures, those kind of things. To me, one of the major things, and I wrote down my 3 S's, are substance, style, and stature. So if you're listening to this podcast early in your career, you need to learn some things so that people want to call you. Your style is how you interact. We all have very different styles, right? But our different styles allow us to be effective. So the product or the multiplication, putting a little math in this, of your substance and your style determines your stature. So when all 3 of us walk into a room, so let's say we go into a room and we know, say, roughly half. When Buddy, you walk in, Kara, you walk in, she's going to get more looks than we are because she's better looking than we are. Okay, but when people see us, okay, we're at a disadvantage. So my substance has to be a lot better because my style isn't as good, right? Is you want to get to a point after you've worked for 10 years or so. You can't do it in the first couple of years, right? People know you don't really know a lot. But by the time you've been working for a decade, you need to walk into a room and people need to seek you out and want to find out what you know. And if you can do that and you're intentional, and then the last thing I had is find some mentors. Is if you can, and I know Ray Lewis for you, Fred Wilson, Joe Fowler for me, my dad is, and I know your dad impacted you, is you've got those mentors. They will be able to speak into your life in a very honest way that doesn't hurt your feelings, and say, hey, buddy, I think this is what you need to work on. Kara, I see you have some real attributes, and I feel like we've kind of done that. I saw that you had some tremendous capabilities, and you built a good business, but you've been very intentional, and you've worked hard at it.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want to keep saying nice things about me?
No, I just want to hear you say Nitch or Neesh a couple more times.
My talent is eating a ridiculous amount of food.
Yeah, like the baseball game. Was it last night?
Yeah.
It was unbelievable how much food you ate. So can you give us a play-by? I'm going to embarrass you. This is really good.
Okay, so on my plate was steak, a burger, chicken, roasted potatoes, roasted vegetables, a salad, a brownie.
First date.
Popcorn.
And apparently there is a second.
It was actually a second date.
On a boat.
Cruising with Kara.
Okay, so apparently my
your brand.
Yeah, my brand is being able to eat a ridiculous amount.
Your niche is to eat like you eat a lot, but don't look like it. Is that it?
All right, back to the subject at hand. Okay, so what's one practical step listeners can implement into their current job or role? So I think this is the advice I give my kids, because my kids are young, so they don't know what they want to do yet. And I just tell them, what do you like doing? Do you like being on the computer? Do you like talking to people? Do you like working with your hands? I think it's very important to figure out what you truly like as a person, because you're going to spend most of your life doing this.
Right.
So just try out some different things, see what you like the best, and then find jobs that fit that as much as possible.
Right.
For me, something I learned just recently actually is to talk to peers and get what their perception of your strengths are, because sometimes we have our own perception of our own strengths, and they're probably not aligned with where we need to be in our uniqueness. So I look to people like you both. If you see something and something I need to improve in, or something, especially if I'm trying to go in a direction and you're like, stop, that's a rabbit trail, it just doesn't look, I don't feel comfortable with that. Those are really important. I take them very seriously.
It's important to surround yourself with people you trust, because then they can, like you said, speak into you where you don't take offense.
Till you have lettuce in your teeth or something like that. Yeah.
Because if either one of y'all came to me and you were like...
Did that happen last night? What?
No, I didn't. I went and checked to make sure.
Good.
If either one of y'all came to me and said, I know you're trying to do this specific thing, but I really don't think it's your strength, I really would listen to y'all and not be offended. I would...
Yeah. Because we want you to be successful.
Yes,
right?
exactly. You probably saved me a lot of heartache.
Yep.
That's what we need to do with my dates. We just need to run them by y'all. I feel like y'all could weed them out.
I want that. Yeah. This is Buddy and Chris.
These are my
They're
two
my
big
filter
brothers.
committee.
Make sure you're home by 10, Kara.
All right, Chris, what's a practical tip?
So I wrote a couple things. I think one is you got to find a gap.
Yes.
Right. So sometimes I get a kick out of, like I've done something, and I know some other people in the industry, I'm not mentioning names, but they're kind of doing the same thing that I've done. And it's like, find something new. Right. And the other thing is be part of an organization that spawns ideas. And we talk about that a lot. I mean, our logo for IDT Expo is a light bulb. And I cannot emphasize that enough, which is one reason I read all the time. Is like, every book I read, it gives me 5 or 6 new ideas. So it is so important early in your career to get coaching from mentors and say, look, where do you think some opportunities exist? And it's just like the keyboard. I play piano. There's 88 keys. We have not finished writing music, right? John Williams, probably before he passes away, will come up with, another 10 or 15 great songs. So there are enough gaps out there. Create your own gap and build a business in it.
Yeah. Perfect. That's great.
It's all good advice. For a word that we can't pronounce, we have a lot to say about it.
Maybe people could send us a message. Is it Nitch? Is it I can't even say it. Nitch or Neesh?
I just feel like when I say niche, I sound so country. Like, this is my niche. Like, and I don't even feel like that sounded country. I don't know what that was. Okay, so we don't have a topic for episode 8, but I propose that our topic is starting a business and the fears that
that's good.
go into starting a business or commercializing. Yes. Or commercializing a new product.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Technology adoption.
Yes.
Yep. Oof. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, we will see you next time for episode 8. I had to look at my notes to see which episode we're on. See you then.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.